Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I call to order the regular meeting of the Lakewood City Council on March 23rd, 2026 at 7:01 p.m. To connect with the council meeting online, please use one of the following links at lakewoodspeaks.org or lakewood.org/council videos. For online public comments, you may post comments of any length to lakewoodspeaks.org. That is our online forum for public comments, also where you can find information on this evening's votes and discussion. We are leaving that online open through 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Anyone who would like to address the City Council tonight will be given the opportunity at multiple times as we move through the agenda with a limit of 3 minutes. Will the clerk please start us off by calling the roll?
Mayor Strom.
Here.
Councilors LeBure.
Here.
Ryan.
Here.
Cruz K.
Here.
Black.
Here.
Sharazai is absent. Sinks.
Here.
Cruz I.
Here.
Lowe.
Here.
Furman.
Here.
Nystrom is absent. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. And this is the moment I would ask if you're able to stand, please do so to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silent prayer or reflection after. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All members of the City Council have the responsibility to comply with the terms of Charter 7.2B and excuse themselves from voting on any matter in which they determine they have a personal, financial, or business interest. The City Council is empowered by Charter 7.2B to agree by unanimous vote, excluding the member at issue, to excuse any member of the council from voting on a matter in which they determine such member has a personal, financial, or business interest. All right, this is the first point in tonight's meeting where the public is invited to address the City Council on items that are not related to this evening's agenda. This initial period of public comment allows for up to 10 speakers to provide comment on any matter other than an agenda item that will prioritize those with special needs. Speaking during this initial period of public comment does require signing up to speak with the city clerk in advance of the meeting. The goal of public comment is to create an environment that welcomes all stakeholders to share their thoughts and concerns. Whether comments are left on lakewoodspeaks.org or here in chambers, I ask that all comments be directed up here to the City Council, that anyone in attendance or online please respect the decorum of council chambers and practice civility. And so that every speaker may be heard, I ask that everyone here in chambers, I know we've got a big crowd tonight, that remain from applause or audible support or discord for the speaker. For anyone in the audience that may be uncomfortable speaking, you too have the opportunity to contribute on lakewoodspeaks.org. You can submit your comment there. Again, that will be left open tonight and through 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'll note that no campaigning is allowed during public comment. We are in the process of a special election right now, so that does apply. If you're speaking and have any handouts, we'd ask that you share them with the city clerk, and they will be distributed to the council after tonight's meeting. And the purpose of public comment tonight is for us to hear from you. So just wanted to let you know it is not the time for a back and forth dialogue. If you have questions or would like to speak to anybody, city staff, councilors, myself, we can do so via other venues, email, phone, and scheduling meetings and the like. But we are tonight here to hear from you. With that, we'll go ahead and call forward our first and only individual signed up for initial public comment this evening, Mr. Alexi Fernandez. The floor is yours, and we'll get your clock started for 3 minutes. If you'll get us started with your name and address or your name and ward.
Alexi Fernandez. Let freedom ring. These are not just words carved in stone or printed in proclamation. They are a promise to the people of this country and the people of this city that they will be protected by their government, not suppressed by them. Recently, a resident in our community was taken by ICE. At first, there wasn't even a warrant. Only later did one appear after the government fabricated a story about how the resident slammed his car into there. And then what did our police do? Are they investigating ICE for the lies? Did they protect the resident? No. They went and protected ICE. So I ask again, what has our city council done? Because I've been sounding the trumpets for months and all we got was a strongly worded proclamation, a symbolic gesture. I say this as a mathematician. I appreciate symbols. Symbols have power, but symbols without actions are empty equations. Other cities are finding their voices. Denver is acting, Aurora is acting. Meanwhile, here in Lakewood, all we got were beautiful words. No executive orders, no executive leadership. But this isn't the only place where residents feel ignored. Why is the council allowed to make an endorsement of a no vote for this special election through legislative proclamation, but residents are not allowed to talk about it? Rules for me, but not for thee. Stop the hypocrisy and do better, council. And let freedom ring. Big developers are spewing thousands upon thousands of dollars into local politics. And when residents see former local public officials walking into comfortable sweetheart jobs tied to those very same interests, people begin to ask a very reasonable question. Who does this government really work for? Because to many residents, it looks like the city is being bought and sold. We will not be distracted by corporate talking points dressed up as false progressivism, and we will not accept environmental language used as a disguise for the profits of the ultra-rich, and we will not allow money to drown out the voices of this city's residents. This special election is more than just about zoning. It's a referendum on who owns this city. The people who live here or the money trying to control it. The voices of the people is clear. No more excuses, council. Let freedom ring.
Thank you. And with that, that brings us to this evening's consent agenda. Council, do we have any items wish to be pulled from this evening's consent agenda? All right, seeing none, will the clerk please read the consent agenda into the record?
The consent agenda is comprised of the following items. Item 4A, R 2026-18, regarding updates to the City of Lakewood 3-mile plan for annexations. Item 4B, R 2026-19, establishing an ad hoc committee of members of the City Council to review the city's charter, provide reports to the City Council on possible amendments to the city's charter, and a report on the establishment of a permanent City Council Charter Review Committee. Item 4C, R 2026-20, appointing and reappointing members of the Lakewood Planning Commission. Item 4D, R 2026-21, appointing a member of the Lakewood Budget and Audit Board. Item 5A, first reading on ordinance 2026-12, authorizing a supplemental appropriations to the 2026 revised annual budget in the amount of $1,037,000 in the grant fund in recognition of grants received from Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, and $3,500,000 in the Capital Improvement Fund to enable an intergovernmental agreement with Colorado Department of Transportation. Item 6, approving minutes of the City Council meeting, special meeting minutes from March 9th, 2026, regular meeting minutes March 9th, 2026.
Thank you. And I have no one signed up to speak on public comment for consent agenda this evening. Do we have anyone that would like to speak? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. May I please have a motion?
Mayor Strom, I move for the approval of the City Council minutes, order all ordinances introduced on first reading to be published in the Denver Post with public hearings set for the date included in the ordinance, and for adoption of resolutions, all of which are included in the consent agenda items introduced into the record by the City Clerk.
Second.
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded. Do we have any additional discussion on the motion? All right, seeing none, please go ahead and cast your votes. That passes 9 yeses and 0 noes. Okay, will the clerk please read item 8A into the record?
Second reading and public hearing for item 8A, O 2026-10, authorizing supplemental appropriations to the 2026 revised annual budget in the amount of $150,000 in recognition of grants received from the Colorado Department of Local Affairs.
Thank you. And council, do we have any discussion on this topic before we open public hearing? Nope. Okay, no discussion. So I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. I don't have anyone signed up to speak on this topic either. Is there anyone in the room that would like to speak on item 8A? All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. May I please have a motion?
Mayor, I move for the adoption of ordinance O-2026-10 as amended, if amended, on second and final reading.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. Councilor Lowe?
I just wanted to note that, there have been questions in the community about, well, what about inclusionary zoning ordinance? And the item we're voting on tonight is to move that forward, right? Like the $50,000 that we're appropriating here will enable a nexus study that we've discussed as a council is a really important precondition for actually passing an inclusionary zoning ordinance. There's been quite a bit of discussion in the HPC about this, the Housing Policy Commission, over the last 2 years. I just wanted to signal again that I am very committed, once we get that nexus study done, to passing an inclusionary zoning ordinance as part of our affordable housing strategy, and I do hope that we're able to move that and get that through by the end of the year.
Thank you, Councilor Lowe. Any other discussion or debate before we vote? Okay, seeing none, please go ahead and cast your votes. That passes 9 yeses and 0 noes. Will the clerk please read item 8B into the record?
Second reading and public hearing on item 8B, ordinance 2026-12, amending Title I, Section 1.16, subsection 20 of the Lakewood Municipal Code regarding general penalty provision for the city of Lakewood, Colorado.
Okay, thank you so much. And for that topic this evening, we do have a staff presentation. And we've got Mr. Patrick Freeman here, from as our senior assistant city attorney will be presenting to us this evening. Mr. Freeman, the floor is yours.
All right, and I want to make sure that I don't kill the momentum for the meeting, so I'll try to keep this as quick as I can. So the changes that we're making to Title I are coming before us here on second reading, and so I just want to have a brief overview of essentially what we're going to be covering with these changes. And so if you look, there's only really 3 substantive changes that are going to be made during the course of this ordinance change. And so if you look, they're in LMC 116020, all 3 of them are. And the first is just adding language that reflects the in regards to People v. Camp, which is the Supreme Court case that I gave a presentation on a few weeks ago at a study session. And so if there's any questions related to that, but essentially this just adds the language that the Supreme Court handed down about People v. Camp to our sentencing scheme. The second is an addition of express permission for the court to create a sentencing schedule. And so this would be a sentencing schedule within the bounds of both state statute or ordinance, because those are already set by both state statute and ordinance, that there is a maximum penalty on any municipal code violation, and that maximum penalty is up to $2,650 and up to 364 days of potential imprisonment. And so then the last substantive change is addition of language that lays out procedure essentially for what is going to be coming in the Title IX changes that we're going to be making later this year. And the Title IX changes that we're going to be making, there wanted to be some consideration of a bond revocation. Essentially, if somebody is out on bond, if they violate the terms of that bond, the very classic instance of this is somebody who's out on a domestic violence bond and they have a no contact order. One of the conditions of their bond is that they can't have any contact with the victim. They make contact with the victim. our municipal court wanted to have the opportunity to be able to revoke that person's bond, and right now that's not anywhere within our code. So this is just kind of a first step to be able to do that going forward. Just kind of cover these substantive changes. As I already said, we went over People v. Camp previously, so this is just essentially making identical offenses, as was referenced in the Camp case. So if the conduct is identical to state statute, there would be times when the maximum penalty under municipal law would be greater than what the maximum penalty under state law would be. That's in the case of especially imprisonment related to Class 2 misdemeanors and petty offenses, where the maximum penalty on those is 120 days of imprisonment and a maximum of 10 days of imprisonment. The fine, as I mentioned previously, max fine on a municipal offense is $2,650. Whereas max fine for any misdemeanor or petty offense in Colorado is $1,000, $750, or $300 respectively for Class 1, Class 2, and petty offenses. So if you look, identical offenses, third-degree assault's an identical offense. That's on our municipal books. That's probably your most classic misdemeanor domestic violence offense. When you're talking about physical violence is third-degree assault. Those are identical offenses, and so the maximum penalty on that is a Class 1 misdemeanor. So the imprisonment is the same. It's up to 364 days. But the fine is actually different. Under state law, it's only up to $1,000, whereas under our municipal sentencing scheme, it's up to $2,650. So that would be limited by the People v. Camp decision. Whereas something like harassment, which is also identical, is a Class 2 misdemeanor and is another very typical domestic violence offense. So that language just kind of lays out how this works. The second substantive change is this addition of the express permission for the court to create a sentencing schedule for those offenses not impacted by the Camp case. I'm aware that Judge Bozarth previously has issued a letter to the City Council talking about how the court essentially kind of addresses sentencing and is addressing sentencing specifically related to cases that are not covered by People v. Camp. And so you have a lot of offenses that are going to be not implicated by Camp, but are going to be similar in nature to how that works. One of the ways that you can address that is by having some sort of sentencing scheme in place, a sentencing schedule in place that addresses those kind of charges, so that when you're telling a defendant who comes before a court, they are always advised, first and foremost, here are the maximum penalty. Here are the charges that you're facing. These are the maximum penalties for those charges, and this is what you could potentially be facing if you were convicted of this at trial. And so one of the things that a sentencing schedule will do is make it so that charges under the municipal code that are not identical in statute but are similar in statute, you'd have a sentencing schedule where the court could then say to the defendant who comes before them, this is the max penalty that you're facing under our sentencing schedule, so that it is far more in line with the state sentencing schedule for similar but not identical offenses. So as it stands currently, if you come before the municipal court and you're on a charge that is not identical but similar, you're going to be advised that the max penalty that you face is up to 364 days in jail and up to a max fine of $2,650. And so if you look at that, there is often times where people are going to be told that they're facing these sorts of maximum penalties when courts are very aware that they aren't going to impose a penalty of that nature in any circumstance, right? First-time offenses for the types of things that are seen by municipal courts are very rarely, if ever, going to result in any sort of jail time. But right now, a defendant has to be advised you face a maximum of up to 364 days in jail and a maximum fine of $2,650 if that offense is not identical to a state statute offense. This would allow the municipal court to say, on these types of offenses, we have designated that this is our sentencing schedule. And so they can advise a defendant, this is the maximum that you're facing. This is the presumptive range that you're going to be facing on this penalty, allowing for the court to provide a little bit more, certainty for the defendant to understand exactly what it is that they'd be looking at based upon the offense that they're there for. And not only that, but a little less shock value so that they're not hearing that they're about to spend a year in jail on their littering ticket. So that's kind of what that is looking for. And then the third substantive change, if you're looking at this, is in addition to language for the courts essentially to be able to hold and conduct bond revocation hearings. This is mainly just kind of the procedural method by which it's going to come back before it, because that's what Title I kind of covers, is procedural methods of hearings and everything that comes back before the court. And so we had one about probation revocation hearings, and we just included essentially bond revocation hearings into the same procedural context, so that if that does get added in the Title IX change, they'll have the procedure in place to be able to conduct a bond revocation hearing. Is that quick enough?
That was quick.
Good.
Council, any questions?
Should I sit down?
Sure. Counselor Sinks, then Counselor Ryan.
Thank you. So the original camp case was not in Lakewood, correct? Would you tell us a little bit about the original case? I think it's good for the listeners to know that it didn't stem from anything that happened here in Lakewood, but of course, the state rules from the Supreme Court apply to everyone. So if you'd walk us through that.
Of course. The camp case was originally a series of 3 cases that were actually all joined together because they all dealt with the same issue. One of the cases was a theft case out of Westminster. The other 2 cases actually involved the same defendant on 2 different incidents, 2 different charges. One was trespass, just general trespass. The other was trespass to auto, which is essentially opening somebody else's car. All 3 cases involved a question of what would the maximum sentence be when we were in this situation after 2021, where they made the changes to state law essentially governing state law misdemeanors and petty offenses and lowering your maximum penalties on those statewide. And so once you had these identical charges where tickets could be written into either a county court or they could be written into a municipal court, but you had this kind of disparate sentencing outcome. The Colorado Supreme Court made the decision that based upon some of the, basically that the state had preempted at that point in time municipal courts from sentencing in excess of what the state had said were maximum penalties.
Counselor Ryan.
This is more of a clarification. The schedule that is being proposed to be put together, it's a schedule of maximum fines or sentencing. It's not, the judges would still have discretion to go lower than those numbers.
Very much so, yes, absolutely. So, judicial discretion is obviously one of the kind of hallmarks of the American judicial system, especially the criminal system. And so understanding who the person is that's in front of you when you're crafting a sentence is one of the is not only laid out by statute, but it's also laid out by years and years of case law, is that you need to take those circumstances into account and making sure that you're crafting a sentence that's going to address a number of different things. It's not simply punitive, it's also effort for rehabilitation and effort for, community safety, and all of those different things are taken into account by a judge when they're crafting that sentence. And so, no, these would not be set in stone sentences. They'd just be kind of limiting ranges of where the court can make those decisions. And I think the vast majority of sentences coming out of the municipal court are going to probation or something less than probation. And so, when we're talking about these maximum imprisonment penalties that we're talking about, it's very rare that you would be seeing those coming out of our municipal court.
Thank you. And that was helpful for that clarification. The other piece is just that the city of Lakewood, at least the municipal courts, have always been, there's not been instances in our municipal code where we exceeded the state requirements or state limits, correct?
I've been here since 2021. I can't speak to before that.
No, that's fair. So under a current version of the municipal code, we did not exceed the state limits. So this is not a change in that way.
And I think I can address that best by saying the municipal courts were very aware of the camp case. We've been tracking this both as a city attorney's office and also as the municipal court, and making sure that we were never going to put ourselves into a situation where we were sentencing in excess of state law penalties. So even before the camp case came out, even when it was still theoretically an option, it was something that the court never did.
Thank you.
All right, Councilor Lowe.
Thank you, and thanks for laying all this out for us. So just to be as clear as possible, I mean, you kind of walked us through three substantive changes that we're doing tonight based on the proposed red lines. So the second change was sort of reflected in this amendment that we see on what page? On page 2, that basically adds in this language: for all penalties not expressly delineated within an individual provision of this code, the municipal code may create a penalty schedule which defines the appropriate minimum, maximum, and/or standard penalty to be imposed, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just in plain language. This is basically giving our municipal courts a bit more discretion, and in particular trying to solve for what you described of, trying to deal with the folks that get the sticker shock value of 364 days for certain municipal offenses, where in practice we know that's just disproportionate to the offense and not practical. And I would say the connection to camp is particularly now that some of the maximum sentences are being clarified for Class 1 and Class 2 misdemeanors. We do want to provide a bit of clarity that we're not having disproportionate, sort of inappropriately 364-day sentences for municipal offenses that exceed what is now basically a maximum for Class 2 misdemeanors. Is all of that is that a fair rationale for why we're seeing this amendment?
Yes.
Great. Great. Okay, thank you. That makes sense.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing. I have no one signed up to speak on this topic. Is there anyone in the room that would like to speak on this topic? Nope. Okay. So we'll go ahead and close public comment, and may I please have a motion?
Mayor, I move the adoption of ordinance O-2026-11 as amended, if amended, on second and final reading.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor on the second. Any discussion and or amendments? Councilor Cruz.
Thank you. And thank you to Mr. Freeman also for explaining this to the public and to all of us once again. And I think some of my co-counselors' questions helped tee up maybe this amendment a little bit for me. So as I sent to you all a little bit earlier today, I would like to move an amendment to kind of modify the second change to put a sunset on that, to have that be kind of a year from when this goes into enactment. And the reason for that is typically in the separation of powers, the council has, as the legislative body, has the authority to set sort of the maximum, like the kind of range of penalty scheme, right? And then the judicial branch has the ability to sort of, as Mr. Freeman was speaking about, discuss the kind of individualized sentences and work within that, right? And so without kind of a sunset for this section, this is sort of in perpetuity, giving for municipal-only offenses that legislative authority up for council. And so what I'm interested in doing, since we have some code updates coming for the areas of our code where we have municipal-only offenses, have kind of a sunset on this proportion so that our municipal judges don't have to tell offenders for public urination or other things that they could face up to a year in jail, but give us sort of some more flexibility in the upcoming conversations we have to make decisions surrounding some of those penalty schedules. So with that, should I make the motion?
Sure.
Great. So I move to amend 1.16020A2 to add a sentence at the end of the paragraph that says, this provision shall sunset on May 1st, 2027.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. Any comments about or questions about the amendment? Councillor Lowe.
I think it's an elegant, well thought out amendment. Good amendment. Vote yes.
Thank you. And thank you to Ms. McKinney-Brown for helping me put it together.
Okay, seeing no additional hands up, please go ahead and cast your vote for the amendment. That passes 9 yeses and 0 noes. Councillor Lowe.
One quick thing. Ms. McKinney-Brown, I'd be comfortable just with a statement to this effect. Would it be reasonable, could I ask you to commit that when the courts do create this penalty schedule, either you or the chief judge would be willing to share that with council just as an FYI so we can review it between now and the sunset clause?
I am in the process of drafting an email to the chief judge asking her would she please include that in her report to the city council. It'll be coming forward in, I think, at the beginning of May. They should have it completed by that time. So yes, you will absolutely see that as soon as it's drafted.
Great. And I'd be comfortable either with that, or if it's not quite ready, then seeing it in writing whenever it is after that.
I know that this is a real priority for the courts because they don't want to give the appearance that there is any kind of sentencing that's inappropriate or too punitive. So they're going to make this a priority, and I do think you'll see it in May.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. And no more hands up. So we already voted on the amendment. We have no more amendments, correct? All right, I see no hands up. So next vote would be voting on the ordinance as amended. Please go ahead and cast your vote. That passes 9 yeses and 0 noes. Okay, that brings us to the second and last portion of our non-agended public comment. I have, again, no one signed up to speak on public comment up here. Is anybody in the room would like to speak on non-agenda public comment? And seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public comment, and with that, we will then move in. Gosh, we're going so fast. I can't even keep up with my script. We'll move on this evening to, do we have an executive report?
Yes, Mayor, I have a brief executive report, and it's really an announcement of celebration of 2 parts. The first one is our navigation center has recently opened and is accepting guests, and we're delighted. It feels like it was closed for renovation for a very long time. If you haven't seen it, please make sure to make an appointment and get a tour. It's really an amazing facility. And secondarily, the other celebration is very recently the county commissioners approved a $3 million appropriation to go toward the navigation center. And that's been a long time in the making as well. And that approval occurred last Tuesday. So a 2-part celebration, and I'm just delighted to have that done. So thank you.
Thank you. Good news always welcome. All right, that brings us to our council reports, and why don't we start tonight with Ward 5?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Main thing is just we're having a ward meeting this Saturday and we'll be having a couple speakers there, just talking a little bit about the zoning the zoning election that's coming up, the special election. So I encourage folks to come down. There's more information on the website, on the city's website. You can check out the ward meetings on there, and we hope to see you there. Thanks.
Ward 4.
So just a couple items. We had our ward meeting last week, and wanted to thank Chris Connor for coming in, the manager of Housing and Thriving Communities. Did a fantastic presentation. I will say it's unusual when it went a solid hour and 15 minutes with people having continuous questions the whole time. The community was very interested, did an excellent job, and we're grateful for him doing so. We did address a few questions people had, really mostly questions around pretty factual questions around what the election means. We also have a ward meeting coming up, though the location isn't locked in yet, and it's the joint ward meeting with Ward 5 on April 11th. We are just looking to lock in a location, though I do think we are intending to have this focus on the sustainability folks here in the city. So.
I don't have much to add other than thank you again to staff for lending Chris Connor to us. He is absolutely fantastic. That's not news to anyone, but when you get Ward 4 folks in the before special elections focused on Navigation Center and homeless issues and interested in what Chris Connor had to say about the city's efforts on that, that's a remarkable thing. And so we're so grateful that the city was able to lend him and that he was willing to spend time with us. And don't forget to vote and drop your ballots. So there we go.
Ward 3.
Ward 3, we are doing something just a little bit different this month. Instead of a traditional ward meeting, we're always try to sort of meet people where they are in a variety of different formats. We went for a sort of a sign up for coffee with your Ward 3 counselors format this year, this month, and that's happening tomorrow. I did just want, just in case anyone is listening to this, we've got a pretty packed schedule tomorrow, which is great. We've got like 8 people coming back to back to back. So thank you so much. We're so looking forward to sitting down with you. Coffee's on us, or specifically on the City of Lakewood. Thank you, City of Lakewood. If you didn't sign up for a spot, maybe don't show up, because that will just be a little bit disorganized if we've got people showing up who didn't sign up for a spot. If you did sign up for a spot, we'll email you the sort of the final details by tomorrow. And fear not, we will have many more ward meetings in the months to come, in the months ahead. And as the Ward 4 councilors alluded to, a special election is happening. Pretty much everyone hopefully has gotten their ballot, who should have gotten their ballot by today. If it doesn't show up like today or tomorrow, you might want to give the city clerk's office a call or reach out. There's information all over the special election website. You can go to lakewoodco.gov/special election to read lots more information. There's going to be there's a whole bunch of FAQs and information. Last day to mail your ballot is March 30th. Ballots need to be received by April 7th, 7 p.m. City drop boxes and the list of locations is on the special election website.
Awesome. Just 2 updates from my end. The Business Safety and Security Grant Program deadline is March 31st. So if you're a small business looking on applying, please be sure to do that. That is at lakewoodco.gov/safety grant. And then the second one, if you are in Ward 3, Lakewood or the greater area, Belmar has an event called Bunny Trails. That's going to be April 4th from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. You can meet the Easter Bunny if you'd like. Take some photos. There's going to be face painting, live entertainment. So be sure to check that out. Again, that's Saturday, April 4th. From 12 to 3 p.m. at the Plaza in Belmar.
Ward 2.
All right. We in Ward 2 also just wanted to echo our enthusiasm and gratitude to the City of Lakewood and Chris Connor for the opening of the Navigation Center. It's just such a thrilling and innovative project, and Ward 2 is really grateful for the city staff's work on this in pushing it through the finish line to get it open to help some of our residents who are most in need. So again, thank you so much to city staff. We're really appreciative.
Echoing that, also just wanted to celebrate the robust attendance that we had with our joint ward meeting with our Ward 1 counselors. We had the honor of having Tracy Wheeland and Jim Hasselgren, who was also coincidentally celebrating his 25th anniversary at the city the same day of our meeting, to come talk all things parks. It was a very exciting meeting where we heard a lot about Two Creeks Park, a new park that just opened up in Ward 2, some of the upcoming park improvements in Ward 1, and a lot of other things that the community was really excited to hear about, and they gave lots of feedback. So appreciated that meeting. Also just wanted to highlight that our First Friday is coming up in the 40 West Arts District on April 3rd. So always go check out the great things at the Hub, but then also at all the other great venues in the district, like on the west side too. I think that was all we wanted to share. So great.
Ward 1.
Thank you. I'll just echo, you just heard that combined wards 1 and 2 meeting, and appreciated again the parks people coming out. One thing that Director Tracy Wheelan pointed out was that surveys are coming, and they'll be online, and so you can fill out a survey to share your vision for what the park is. And of course, earlier is better. She said, please don't talk to us when the shovel is in the ground. It's a little too late to share your vision then. So you have plenty of time now to fill out the survey. So that would be really great to do that. We will be back on track with our Ward 1 meeting Saturday morning, the first Saturday of April at our regular place and time, Holy Shepherd Lutheran Church on 9th and Kipling. And we hope to have a speaker from our municipal courts. We talked a little bit about that. And so we'll have that finalized, and that'll be on the city website. Thank you.
All right. Well, I would like to start off by saying a big congratulations to our long-term city manager. We have an award that was recently won, a very special award in honor of the upcoming 250th anniversary of the United States of America. Ms. Hodson was selected as one of America's 250 public service champions. This is a national effort to honor and elevate the role of government in the United States as we approach our 250th anniversary. So through storytelling, recognition, and innovation, the initiative highlights how public servants, like Ms. Hodson, have shaped and continue to shape democracy across our country. And as someone that has had the opportunity to serve so close, I can say this is very well deserved, and I'm excited to be able to share this with the world. So congratulations, Ms. Hodson. And then I will add one note on the election that's been brought up by a few of my colleagues up here this evening. There is, admittedly, this is a special election that lands in an unexpected time of the year, and where we have traditionally lots of systems in place to help disseminate information when these are state or county level elections. That does not exist as much when it's a local level. So wanted to let you all know, Councillor Lowe had mentioned the FAQs that are on the website. We do also have printed versions that are available as well. And the League of Women Voters, for those of you that watch elections in the city of Lakewood, Colorado, as in throughout Jefferson County as well, the League of Women Voters did do a video asking questions of those on both sides of the referendum. So that is available right now on YouTube. If you go in and just search Jeffco League of Women Voters, Lakewood. That's how I found it today fairly easily, and I do understand that it should be available hopefully soon on the website, the Lakewood website as well. So we understand that information is limited about that. The election, we're trying to get as much as we can out there, and hopefully that video will help once we get that available. So there's that. And then my last announcement is to note that we are bringing back the State of the City address. It's been since 2018, and I'm very, very excited and welcome everybody. It's no cost. We want to see anyone that has any desire to learn anything about what is going on in the city that you live in. This is an incredibly important time just to understand what's going on under the hood of our city. We have great things, we have challenges, and we've got a lot to talk about that was accomplished last year and that we're looking forward into next year. So April 15th, please join us. Information is also available on lakewood.gov, lakewoodco.gov now. State of the city, and you should be able to see also plenty of it on across our social channels as well. So April 15th in the afternoon, I believe it starts at 4. And that's all I have. So with that, we will go ahead and adjourn us at 7:46 p.m.
You can, well,